Well, hello everybody. This week I am mostly back in development hell. So this is when you have to do electronics and coding and circuit design all at the same time, and if something doesn't work, you're not sure where the problem is, which part of it do you need to change. And it's quite common to have 3 or 4 problems and you fix one and it doesn't seem to work, but you've actually fixed it, so you change it back. So you keep getting stuck going around trying to find the problem. And my problem comes about because the audio chip that I'm using has been discontinued, and there are still available to buy, but they're getting expensive, so I need to change it. So this is the board and this is the chip I'm using. I'm going to swap it for this one. I've made this little breakout board, and I made myself a little breakout circuit, so I'm just powering it with what we call an Arduino. It's a little development board. This is the new chip, this is my existing cartridge, and it doesn't work. And the way it should work is, I've got a data sheet here. What we do is you send numbers to it. So this, you see, query the current volume. We send these numbers and it'll give you a response. This is your return. It'll give you that and then the number. And over on this side I've got, there we go, so this is my code that sends those numbers. And then if we look, we see here, query volume, it gives me the correct response. But I'm trying different things. The number of tracks found, set the SD card or the cartridge, set the volume. If it says number 5, that means there's an error. Number 5 means there's an error. Number 5 means there's an error. And no, but we can query the volume, but we can't set the volume. And we have it. Where are we at? Do we still have? Yeah, so we see here, like volume control. You send these numbers and that should set the volume, but it won't. It comes back with an error, and it keeps coming back with an error. So what's happening? Why should that be? We have it partially working. We know we're communicating because we send a message to the chip and say, what's the volume? And it comes back and says the volume is 20. We send a message that says change the volume. It says no. Computer says no. So what I'm going to try today, but this is driving me mad, and I've got a feeling that these are just some chips I bought from eBay to test them, and I'm just curious that these chips might not actually be the chips that they say. Another counterfeit chip problem, maybe. I've got these little, this is a little development shield that allows you to put a memory card in and plug it in. So instead of using the cartridge, I'll use this, because this has some extra hardware on called a level shifter that makes sure that the data that comes out is very clean and it's the exact voltage. So let's put this on and see what happens. That's done. Okay, so I've built this up and I've added these extra connections. So we will test them. Make sure everything is connected. The reason I'm doing this, by the way, ordinarily you test using these things. This is called a solderless breadboard, which is really quick. You can plug the connections in. But what tends to happen is if they wiggle, it can cause problems. So you can have problems with this itself. So we build the basics on this and then we make it for real. So let's just check my connections. So for a memory card, you have a ground, which is where that works. That's where the voltage returns. We have power, which comes from the MP3 chip, because that actually gives power for memory cards, which works. The master input is from the command. Works. The master output, this is sending data back from the memory card. Works. The serial clock, so if you think data is sent like Morse code but it needs a clock to time everything, and that works. And finally the chip select or chip detect, this is you really memory cards send and say, yep, I'm plugged in, I'm connected. Is on. That's it. Right, everything's connected. Let's see if this works. Right, let's put in my memory card. So this has been formatted and it has some data on it. And at the other end, let's plug this in. Let's see what comes up on my screen. Set memory card, that means fail. Set volume, comes back error. Query volume is correct. Again, this isn't working, is it? Number of tracks, fail. Set memory card, error. Okay, there's some issue with this chip. It's not that. So yes, this is kind of what our life is like. We're trying. It's extraordinary how things build up. Trying to run a business, so we're actually trying to fulfill sales and make sales, and that part's okay, but that takes quite a lot of effort. And then it's manufacturing, which takes a lot of effort, and now it's changing the design, which it takes time. That takes real time. And then of course we've got to develop new games and new software, which takes time. And so everything's just I think we're in that hump phase, you know, that people often talk about when they start a new business, that they're doing everything. They're sleeping on the floor of their factory and they're sweeping up, and you just have to do everything. And we're kind of at that stage. What will happen with this next is I have ordered some of these chips from the manufacturer. And what I'm suspecting, I don't think these are the right chips, although they've got the right serial numbers, is the manufacturer themselves will customize them and modify them if you are making large orders. And I've got a feeling somebody's had them modified, ordered 10,000, done their project, and then they've got these leftovers that have ended up on eBay. But they're modified, they're not matching the data sheet. So I think I've got the right chip, but they've been modified for somebody else's project, and I've got the leftovers. And because the fact that it's sending a signal saying no, there's an error, like that's a correct response. It's not as though the chip's not working. The chip is working. It's telling me that the volume is set, but it's not allowing other things. So the chip itself works, but my instructions to it are incorrect. But I'm following everything correctly. Okay, let's see. We just have to wait a week or so and get some authentic chips.